Hey,
All right,
Rashawn.
everybody, welcome back to the channel, man. What a great ending to the season. We had to bring it in with the Zoom and everything like that. I got my dear friend, Akiem Bailum, friend of the channel, been on here a couple times already. Akiem, how are you doing, sir?
I am absolutely doing tremendous. I've been doing tremendous. I've been doing tremendous all season, doing great all season. And I feel like it's been, it's just been a vibe, man. It's just been a vibe, man, as always.
Yeah, man. I guess to do the newsiest 78-71 final score of game 4 of the WNBA finals tonight. Las Vegas Aces over the Connecticut Sun. Pretty good game. I do want to, I guess, an artistic basketball is a beautiful game, and Las Vegas is a big city. That's a small city and a small town in a big city. Chelsea Gray's a killer. Raquana Williams is a killer, and Vegas I do the entire kind of narrative approach there. So that was that. I had to check that box off. But shout out to Jiggy Maxwell over there and the entire Aces organization for giving me access all season long to the team. As you guys have seen, all the coverage on the channel and stuff like that. They've been very helpful. It's of course like the Sparks as well. And of course the Dream, the hometown team for letting me in the doors. I've been knocking on their door for a couple seasons now. So to finally get in there this past season, it was pretty cool. I got all my things out the way. Okay, check that box off. Uh Keem, the actual game. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a pretty fun game from start to finish. And especially after what happened in game 3, you kind of wonder exactly like how Las Vegas was going to respond. Like, was this going to be another one of those games that would be very similar to game 3, or would it be a lot closer? And shout out to Becky Hammond. I mean, she made the right adjustments, and made the right moves to really put Vegas in contention to claim victory today, as she has all season. And it's been one of those situations I feel like with Las Vegas. Obviously, so much talk has been about their big three, Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young. But this has really been a playoffs where we've really talked about a lot of the unsung heroes. I mean, in the semifinals, it was Chelsea Gray. MVP, Finals MVP, Chelsea Gray. But in this game 4, it was really Raquana Williams, because if I remember correctly, she had 6 points, I think, through the first 3 quarters, and then she just went off in that fourth quarter. So shout out to Raquana Williams, another ex LA Spark, as is Chelsea Gray. So yeah, it was really the unsung heroes. And it's interesting because one of the things that has been the Achilles heel, quote unquote, of the Aces all season has been their bench. But those unsung heroes really came through big time this series.
Very ironic that's the thing that they got the knock for. And you think about it, even with unhealthy not 100% De'Erica Hamby, a whole nother all-star that was coming off the bench there for them. Even that, having that and still having that much depth and reliability coming off the bench, it says a lot about their team. They were a stacked team. They lived up to the hype. They lived up to the expectation, coming in with someone who should have been an NBA coach, and coming in with WNBA legend, highest paid in league history. You have that expectation, especially based off of kind of what Bill was able to do as a predecessor over there. So it was kind of like that was the expectation for them to be the best team and for them to win the championship. So for them to do that, all the kudos in the world to them, and all the kudos in the world to Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum for stepping up and playing like the #1 draft picks that they actually are this season. I always feel like Jackie is kind of like the W's version of Andrew Wiggins, where she took a lot of flack early on, got off to a slow start in her career, eventually figured it out, played at an all-star level this past season, and really just was that key role player that they needed, and stepped up and hit some big shots when they needed. She hit a lot of big shots in game 3 before it got too out of control there. But yeah, as far as game 4, the actual game, close game, physical the first 3 quarters. and then Vegas starts to pull away. And then Connecticut, them jokers fight back again. They had that dog in them all season, so it was only right that they did the exact same thing tonight. And they fought to the end, even took a lead. Shout out to Courtney Williams, hitting a couple big jumpers down the stretch there. John Quell Jones, she hit a tough fadeaway. If I'm not mistaken, it was a fadeaway leaner towards the baseline right there in the fourth quarter when they were kind of making that run. Yeah, that was to end the 5-point play. The 5-point play when Kelsey Plum closed out, and it was what they call it, an aggressive closeout or something like that, a
Mhm.
harmful closeout. And Dewana Bonner got the 3 free throws. Connecticut gets the ball back, because those are the flagrant rules. And John Quell gets it along the baseline, 2 dribbles, spin move, fade away on that baseline to bring it within. I think that was like one. It was like 67-66 at that time. I apologize if I'm off on the score, but it was something like that. And that 5-point swing did everything for Connecticut, got them back in the game. They end up taking the lead, and Vegas just stayed calm. Rakana Williams just stayed calm, I should say. She hit a couple big, huge shots. She had her Kyrie moment there, with just inside the minute with her last bucket. Did the little kind of playing thing or whatever, going to timeout. Kelsey Plum put the cherry on top with the late bucket as well to seal the deal, and Vegas got it done. So, like you said, an entertaining game to watch them go back and forth. But Connecticut, you were never fully like capped on them. Like there are some things I wanted to say about Vegas being up 2-0, but you just know Connecticut and the way that they came back and made Chicago fold the previous round. And that's what I just kept thinking tonight. And even game 3 and stuff like that. Like this is a team that fights, and this is a team that's always going to come back and make it a contest. So great, good series. Good. I wouldn't say great. Connecticut, they play like a not the prettiest brand of basketball to me. Like, like Seattle, Vegas, that's a pretty series to me. Seattle,
Mhm.
Washington, that's a pretty series to me. This was like physical, and them dogs got heart. You know what I'm saying? But Vegas is it's just too stacked, too much for them. Salute, congratulations to De'Erica Hamby. Like I was telling Keem in the chat, man, I think Marietta High School has the most successful high school right now, as of today in America. I don't
Mhm.
care about tomorrow. I don't care about 2 days from now. And within 365 days, both Dansby Swanson and De'Erica Hamby made the All-Star teams in their respective leagues, and they won the world championships in their respective leagues in the past 365 days. Therefore, Marietta High School is the most successful high school in America as of today, and that's my argument. That's what I want to say. And then Keem, I guess I'll pass it back to you now.
It is what it is. Absolutely. Shout out to Marietta High School. Absolutely. Like, they produce champions. I mean, between De'Erica and Dansby, they produce champions. What can you say? They're doing much better than
Yes,
my
yes.
high school alma mater, which is Alexander.
And I just went to the homecoming or whatever on Friday. It's the first time I've been to the high school or a football game since like 2017. So the first time I've been there to a game in 5 years. And yeah. So it was nice seeing some old faces. I got to reconnect, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's I'm trying to think of anything else. I'm trying to think of anything else before I get into my take, some of the more kind of aggressive stuff. Uh Let me think. I'm sorry. I was texting back some folks who are looking to get on and hop on and stuff. Uh hmm. I guess we can get into the takes. Shall we get into the takes, Hakeem? Did we get all the congratulations out?
One thing I did want to say is, when you was mentioning about Connecticut, I'm totally with you about the Connecticut Sun. I mean, and that's why I know that there was a lot of folks on WNBA Twitter that was saying like, oh, like when the Aces went up 2-0, they thought it was going to be a sweep, and that's when I was like, wait a second, like they ain't done. Connecticut's not done. We've seen this before. They were, prior to today, they were undefeated. They were a perfect 4-0 in elimination games. So, I mean, we saw what they did today. Dallas. We saw how they came back against the Chicago Sky, as you mentioned. So you knew that that there was not going to be any quit in the Connecticut Sun, and it even showed even in this game four. I mean, so yeah, that's that's a team that's not going to go away easy. So and I think that only made it a lot sweeter is the fact that it was a hard fought game. So yeah, shout out to the Connecticut Sun. I mean, I know that there's going to be lots of talk on WNBA Twitter about the Sun, once again, the team that gets oh so close, but doesn't quite reach the brass ring. But yeah, I mean, they fought hard all series, and that's why they were finals participants.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were talking about it at the end of the regular season or at the beginning of this playoffs, where they said, I believe it was DB. She said, "Yeah, they're going to blow up the team if we don't get it done this year." There's been so many times they're going to blow up the team if we don't get it done this year. So it'll be interesting to see if that actually happens this offseason. Uh, I don't know. I think that's always a weird place to be, of like literally always contending for a championship and never winning one
Mm,
and blowing it up versus kind of just being content with that, as opposed to,
yeah,
shout
and
out to the
maybe making
Indiana
some minor.
Fever, but I don't know if you want to be the Indiana Fever. Like, I'd rather be the Connecticut Sun and just lose in the finals or semifinals every year than be the Indiana Fever.
Poor
But
Destiny Henderson.
yeah,
Poor
yeah,
Destiny Henderson.
shout
Poor
out to
Henny.
Henny.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it'll be, that'll be interesting. I mean, as far as Connecticut, like what changes they make in the offseason. Like I've been seeing a lot of people even talk about possible changes with the Chicago Sky. I mean, because they got a lot of, they got a lot of veterans on that team, and of course they got their championship. But Chicago is going to be another one of those teams. Like, what are they going to look like in 2023? Of course, Seattle is another one of those teams. What are they going to look like? Because obviously Sue Bird's retiring. There's a lot of speculation. Folks are already talking about putting Brianna Storm in a New York Liberty uniform. So I mean, it's
She was hanging out. She was just hanging out with Joe Lloyd, and someone posted, it was like, "It's nice they're hanging out." There's probably a Seattle fan. It's nice they're hanging out with each other.
Of course, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, yeah, but yeah, there's the potential for this offseason and this free agent period when it starts, next year, to once again really be a very interesting free agent period. And it's interesting even in the case of this season because it's another one of those no rest for the weary type of situations, because now that the season is over, a lot of these same players are about to head to Australia for the FIBA World Championships. So yeah, it's going to be a real quick turnaround, and I believe the first game of the FIBAs is this Wednesday, is on the 21st, I believe. So yeah, no rest for the weary as far as like a lot of for a lot of WNBA players, but yeah, it should be interesting. Just thinking about what will happen in the off season. Who's going to win the draft lottery? Will it be the Dream? Will they draft Aaliyah Boston? Will they have the chance to draft Aaliyah Boston first overall? So should be interesting.
If the Dream get the first pick, that, like, when you're talking about an interesting offseason, I think that is a game changer, because the Dream, I don't think, are the typical lottery team. Like, the only reason why the Dream didn't make the playoffs is because it's their first year. Like, it's not because
Yeah,
they're a bad team. Like, the
right.
Sparks, they had a rough season. Not Washington.
Minnesota.
Indiana is Indiana. Minnesota, they lost a lot of games, and this is kind of a reset with still being gone now.
Hmm.
And then also cutting their entire team before the season. I almost forgot. They cut the entire team before the season. Have to remember that.
Yeah.
But Atlanta is not really compared to those other teams, they're in much better shape than every single one of those teams I just named. Speaking of free agency, you don't know where Neck is going this offseason.
Right.
So I
Right.
mean, like, everything's up in the air, but you do know Atlanta's gonna be solid. They're already
Exactly.
with Naj and Ryan. The fact that they were both rookies. I said it when they got drafted. I was like, the league made a mistake letting Naj fall to 15. She finally came on at the end of the season, and I don't know what Cheyenne's gonna do. I don't know if Atlanta's gonna bring her back. I'd imagine that it's kind of a priority to them to bring her back, because she was one of their better players this past season. But they have their team there. AD, uh, they want to, I'd imagine want to stay home where they have a larger role than what they had in New York. So I feel like the dream are set. The dream are pretty much set. Ari is like 2 years old. Um, Mullins is pretty young as well. I don't know, man. I,
Yeah.
I think the Dream are in a really good position. So if they get the number one pick, that's a whole nother team. I feel like you skip playoffs, you're looking at contending. You're looking at a top four team right then, in
Mm.
my opinion. So there we go with the draft and stuff. It's the equivalent to Washington getting Shakira Austin last season.
Uh-huh.
It's like Washington wasn't the typical lottery team there, as you saw with EDD coming back for an entire season, with Tasha with AC coming back for an entire season. That
Yeah.
wasn't the same team that made the lottery when Tosh was in and out the lineup, EDD was in and out of the lineup, and AC was out for the year. That was a whole nother team, and you add Shakira to that, and they became one of the best teams in the league. So I think that's exactly what happens with Atlanta if they get the number one pick. Enough of me talking about Atlanta. This is about Vegas tonight. Um, Congratulations to Asia Wilson. She got over the hump. You think about last postseason when she crashed down to her knees and cried and banged the floor, and it was so heartbreaking, heart gutching to watch, or whatever you want to say. And yeah, Liz, she kind of trots off the floor and never looked back. And what I'm saying, she got it done. So congratulations to Asia Wilson for getting it done. What a season. Ruffles bag, MVP of the regular season. What else? What else? Commissioner's Cup champion this season, and now
Mm.
finals champion. So salute to her. Just a great season. Okay. I got that out the way. Let's talk, Keem. Let's talk.
Mm.
Asia Wilson went ghost. She
Mhm.
disappeared tonight. And I
Mm.
know some people were like, look at defense. Asia got a huge steal in the final minute.
Yep.
A couple possessions before, it's about a minute 30 left. It's still like a 1-2 point game, whatever it was at that time. Asia leaks out from the defense, and she just starts running down the floor. John Quell or Bree Jones, one of the two, one of the towers, missed a shot down low. Rebound. They're fighting for the rebound. And it's like those two and like Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray's by herself fighting for the rebound. So Chelsea Gray finally gets it, thank the Lord. And since Asia leaked out, Chelsea Gray gets the lead pass up to Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson has taken 0 shots in the fourth quarter up to this point. This is the MVP. This is the person that trying to claim title of best player in the world. This is the perfect opportunity. You're about to win the championship. She does not take a shot. She passes it to Jackie Young. The pass was off and went out of bounds. I don't know if Las Vegas got it back. I can't remember at this time, but that's what happened. Um, I think this was a prime opportunity for Asia to really solidify hands down. Obviously South Carolina fans and Vegas fans are gonna say, yeah, she's the face of the league, best player in the world. I get it. I respect it.
Mm.
But this was her chance to all the basketball fans, not just her fans, to solidify without a shadow of a doubt she is not only the face of the league, but the best player in the league and the best player in the world. And I don't think she was able to do that, unfortunately, in this series. Now, does she care about it right now? No. She just won a championship, salute.
Mm.
But I mean, with all the legacy talk and stuff like that, I think that's just something that you have to keep in mind. Keem, I'll let you go.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely something that's going to be talked about, and I think it's going to be also brought up in many ways. I think that in a lot of ways it's a situation where all of that you just mentioned I think is certainly valid, but I also think that in many ways because of the fact that she's see the thing is she's pretty much the leader of that team. Like on court, she's pretty much the leader of that team. So everything, that goes on as far as like with the Las Vegas Aces, it goes through Asia Wilson. So I think that that's going to be one of those situations where I think that in a lot of ways, a lot of a lot of WNBA fans are going to, are going to really give her a pass. And, obviously I'm here in South Carolina, right next to U of SC. So obviously, there's a celebration going on around this area. But yeah, I think that's one of those things I think people are going to mention because, now, you can, mention exactly like, how, this is, how this happened. But even she said in the post-game press conference, like, she didn't do the LeBron, like, where I'm going to do, like, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. Like, she didn't do anything like that. But she basically said, oh, this is not the last one. Like, this is the only time that I'm going to be winning a championship. And she's right. She's going to have a lot more chances throughout her career to really have those performances where she's be worthy of an MVP trophy. So in the finals, and she already has 2 regular season MVPs because she won in 2020 when they were in the bubble. So this only adds to, I believe, her legacy that she's setting her groundwork for. She won a state championship in South Carolina when she played at Heathwood Hall. She won a championship under Dawn Staley with South Carolina, a national championship. She's an Olympic gold medalist. And now she's a WNBA champion. So it's one of those situations. I think that's going to be something, like you said, like the closing moments of Game 4 are going to be talked about. But at this point, man, it's really something I feel like the resume speaks for itself. Like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart are going to be the 2 faces of the WNBA for the next, you can say, 10 years. And, yeah, I think A'ja only had like 11 points this game, but she'll have a lot more opportunities to where she'll have performances, especially as she gets even more experience, where she'll have those games where she'll have like 20-point games and 12 rebound games in closing games of the finals. So this is, far from A'ja Wilson's last go round of the finals, I believe.
I got you. My picture froze up, and I was like, it's still frozen. Can you hear me, King?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, can you see me? I'm frozen on my end.
Yeah, I'm frozen. No, I'm frozen, but I see you're frozen on your side.
Okay, I wonder what that is. But in the meantime, did you get? Are you getting Jiggy's emails?
Yeah, I'm getting
Okay.
all of his
Because you were going up every time I got an email from him. So I was wondering. I was like, he's getting Jiggy's emails as well. All right.
Yeah, I'm part of their mailing list too.
Okay. Yeah. Salute to
Mhm.
Jiggy, man. I feel like best in the league at it, man. And shout out to Sparks as well. Hold on, I'm gonna turn off my camera and turn it back on and see if this works. There we go. I'm back. Okay. Hey guys, I'm
Nice.
back. Where am I going with this? Okay, so we talked about A'ja. Okay, yeah. I mean, like you said, so salute to A'ja and the resume she's built up. Like I said, Commissioner's Cup as well this season. So salute to A'ja. Um, but yeah, like you said, it's like on the NBA side, when we talk about Bron, or even Steph, when Steph won this summer, there is this discussion: is Steph the greatest point guard ever now? And I was like, no, it's still Magic Johnson. And you hate to say something like that because you want to give the great Sarah moment, and everybody can be great, but you still can't be a prisoner of the moment. And that sounds like some hating stuff. I ain't gonna lie. I realize it. But Breanna Stewart, like you brought up, A'ja was a state champ in high school, champion in college, now champion in the league. Breanna Stewart won 4. And then she went to the WNBA and won, like, what is she on, 3 or 4?
2.
She won another 2. Oh, only 2. Okay, well,
Mm.
that puts things in perspective. It's not so
And has won
cookies
Olympic
and cream.
gold too.
And won Olympic gold. She's got a couple because she was she she made the team over Candace in 16. So
Oh yeah.
so she has 2 of those. So anyways, I mean, Stewie's right there, but it's not so far fetched. Yeah, but if anything, like I think just head to head, Stewie's still the better player right now. I mean, I feel like A'ja had the better regular season this season, and with the regular season that Vegas had, I think you give it to A'ja when it's so close. I think A'ja gets the edge over Stewie this regular season, and she deserved that MVP for sure. But I think when you're just talking about best player, I still think Stewie's I still think it's Stewie,
Mm.
respectfully. Um, and Asia had 14 rebounds tonight. Like we talk about the 11 points in the first half and 0 points in the second half, but she had 14 rebounds. So she got it done in other ways, and that's what great players do when they don't have it going offensively. But yeah, that's just where I stand on that. That's kind of like my most controversial take of the night. And I know some people might trash me for it and say, Rashad, this is not the time, tone deafness. But that's just, in the heat of the moment, I know so many people are gonna say, she's this, she's that. And I did the same thing with Steph when Golden State won. I was like, no, still not the greatest point guard of all time. When Braun won in the bubble, no, he's still not the greatest player of all time. Like you have to, because people are like, oh, they got it now. They're no, that's not how it works. But yeah, that's it. That's all I had on my end. Keem, do you have anything else in terms of like I guess the Asia angle?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, this is, I think and this is going to be something that we're going to see in the coming years. I think that part of the reason as to why maybe sometimes Stewie doesn't necessarily get her love is because in many ways she's been somewhat overshadowed by Sue Bird. With Sue Bird retiring, and who knows if, if Stewie does indeed go to the Liberty. I mean, so it's or where else she goes in the WNBA, because she's already been very vocal about the whole prioritization clause, which in the CBA, which pretty much wants WNBA players to prioritize their WNBA teams over their overseas teams, even though those overseas teams may be paying them more money. So that'll be a storyline to follow with Stewie in the coming years. But really, I think that that's part of the reason as to why Stewie doesn't necessarily get a lot of love, or as much love as maybe Asia, is because in a lot of ways, there are some WNBA fans that probably still Stewie, still see Stewie as sort of the Robin to Sue Bird's Batman. Now Stewie's going to
Which
have a
was
chance.
exactly the opposite.
Exactly the opposite, perhaps. Or they may see her as the Batman to possibly Sue Bird's Robin. So so it's a situation. I think that that may very well be the case. Now, wherever she goes, if she stays in Seattle or if she goes to New York, it's going to be a situation where now it's going to be something where it's like, okay, she's got two championships. She's in the prime of her career. So that's going to, and then on top of everything else, she's done everything that she can do in Seattle. If she goes to New York, she'll be in a much bigger, playing in a much bigger market, obviously, on a team that hasn't won a championship yet, and it's an original eight. So, so that'll be something to follow. But, I think that's somewhat the difference, because ever since Asia Wilson was drafted by the Las Vegas Aces, she's been the face of that team. I mean, through all the coaching changes and all the personnel changes that they've gone through, Bill Laimbeer, Angel McCoughtry, Liz Cambage, Becky Hammond, Nikki Fargas, like all the changes that they've had, she's been the face of that franchise ever since they moved to Vegas. So I think that's part of the reason as to why she gets so much love. And, the significance of this, like, this is the first time that Las Vegas has even won a championship in any major professional sport, because they're just now starting to get into the professional sports game. They got the Vegas Golden Knights. They were in the Stanley Cup finals. I believe their first year, they didn't get it done. The Raiders just moved to Vegas, and now the Aces, have been in the finals twice since the move, and now they're champions. So shout out as well to the, to the city of Las Vegas. They're having their parade on Tuesday. And Vegas going to do it big, man, because it's Vegas. So they're gonna
She
do it
said
big.
four shots. All the kids, four ginger shots, ginger ale.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I'm thinking about all of that, like what you said. Um, I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be, just very. Oh yeah. Oh, the marketability. I think Asia's the most marketable player. Just when you think of the swag, when you think of the headband, the ponytail, and the leg sleeve. I mean, she made the leg sleeve something that NFL players are wearing and everything like that. I think just her cultural impact is kind of a reason why, people, I feel like all kind of tall, slim girls now are like, they look up to her, like that's their favorite player. That's who they want to be like, kind of like Ellen Iverson and Michael Vick were, or Candace Parker was a few years ago. Oh, and Candace Parker still is, you know what I'm saying? But that's just the case. So I think that's the reason why a lot of people will be like, oh no, she's so, ride for her so much and everything. But I
Mm,
mean, let's take a step back and just look at it statistically, numbers wise, and just kind of from a practical standpoint. I don't think it's too far fetched to say that Asia's the best player in the world because she's certainly in the conversation of top two. I'm just
mm.
pointing out the facts of why I still think Stewie has that title. Um, Kelsey Plum. We want to talk about Kelsey Plum or Chelsea Gray? Where do we want to go with this?
We can really talk about either or, whichever is better for you.
Kelsey Plum, like I said, stepping up, having, I think last season was really kind of the season she like bounced back or whatever from her ACL injury, winning the Olympic gold in the 3-on-3 and kind of proclaiming herself to be back. And to come back this season and just kill it the way she has, propelling herself into the MVP conversation. Salute to Kelsey Plum and KP and the type of season that she had. Just a dog. She almost sold tonight with that 5-point play. uh Almost just gave away the season. I don't know if she bet on the game, Vegas, or but like shout out to KP hitting that big shot, like I said, to kind of seal the deal, put the cherry on top after Rakana did what she did in the final 2 minutes of the game. So salute to KP, man. Great season, dude. And coming in with the back and blood, speaker on the speakers and everything like that. That's a
Yeah.
dog, man, on and off the court, man. Salute to KP. But yeah, I'll let you go, King.
Absolutely. It's interesting you mentioned Kelsey Plum because her journey to this championship has really been, I think, an inspirational one. Because, like you said, she was a former number 1 overall draft pick when they were still in San Antonio as the Stars. And it's interesting because, when you think about it, that first season after she got drafted out of Washington, that was a tough season for her. That was a tough season for her. She was wondering about her playing time. She was wondering about her minutes. She was wondering about her production, and that was really something that was kind of going on with her. But she stuck it out. She stayed. With the franchise throughout the move. And what's also interesting is that I talked to Kelsey Plum while I was at All Star up in Chicago, and I asked her about after she won All Star Game MVP, what this meant to her. And she had a very interesting response. She basically was talking about how she's been a lot easier on herself because she doesn't allow her greatness as a player to all of a sudden just go ahead and just define her. And I think that that's something sometimes we sort of forget about sports is, sometimes we sort of think about like what they do on the court or on the field or on the pitch or on the ice or whatever. But it's one of those situations. I think that in recent years, I feel like Kelsey has really found herself, and we've seen the results. I mean, if anything, she's become better as a player for it. So yeah, definitely shout out to Kelsey Plum and just the career strides she's made, and it's clearly paid off. Now she's a WNBA champion. She can add that to her resume.
It was funny that I used the word dog to describe her on and off the court because this was the season where she told us the Tom Brady story, and Tom Brady came to the game and she,
Yeah. She got a heck of
so
an arm too. I
yeah,
like she
yeah,
got a heck of an arm.
yeah.
Like I
That's why
still
she looks up to Tom Brady so much,
probably. Hey, there's a lot of NFL teams that could probably use Kelsey as a quarterback.
including Tampa Bay. But uh, uh, I guess going on to Chelsea Gray now. Chelsea, she had a like I don't. Here we go again with being prisoners of the moment, right? Chelsea Gray wasn't that good to start the regular season. Why every time it's I can't believe she wasn't voted to the All-Star team. I can't. Oh man, would you believe that the coaches, the media, the players, the fans passed on her. She wasn't that good to start the season this year. And she was good last season. She's been good her entire career. She's Chelsea Gray, the point guard. You don't get the nickname the point guard from being mediocre. She just wasn't that good this season, especially compared to the rest of the Vegas lineup. She didn't deserve to be an all-star at the time that all-star voting wasn't solidified. All right, so she goes through that rough start. goes in All-Star break. And it's kind of funny that even Holly brought this up to her after, because Holly's the one that reported, well, what did you do over the All-Star break? And she said, man, I went to work like I used to. There's motivation. I didn't even really go on vacation like that. I just second half of the season or post All-Star break, a whole different Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray that we're used to seeing. And the way she was shooting in the playoffs, she went on a run that we haven't seen from, many people in past years. Like we were talking about, I think it's the best playoff run that I've seen since Dame, you know what I'm saying, in the bubble. Someone else was saying like she's on her like 2016 Braun run or 2021 Giannis run. Like that run that she went on in the postseason was something that I don't think any basketball fan will forget. I had a homie that was like, yo, I'm rocking with the Aces now. He's trying to kind of just watching a little more W. And he's like, I'm an Aces fan after watching Chelsea Gray hit a 4-point play and do the little bounce or whatever on the floor. Um, I mean, when you start to convert people by yourself, have those performances that people are going to remember forever. And there's so many of them for her this postseason run. You have to give her her flowers. And you talk about the people who are overlooked. John Quell, she was, telling the kind of joke at the beginning of the season or before the season, whenever the interview was with ESPN, where she was like, oh, no, she tweeted this out. Where she's like, in the W, you can't just be the best player. You have to be the best player, most marketable, most followers on Instagram, the prettiest, the ABC and everything like that. And for Chelsea to really fight for her respect this season and actually get it is beautiful. And to provide just basketball fans with so many moments, I say thank you. So yeah, that's my little old and flowers to Chelsea Gray. You go ahead, King.
Yeah, Chelsea Gray is the truth. I mean, like it's and like you said, it was something where she did struggle with the regular season, up to the second half and everything. And it was really one of those situations where when you think about the Aces, they were getting attention obviously because of their big three of Asia, Kelsey, and Jackie. And then all of a sudden Chelsea Gray just pretty much comes out of nowhere. And then it's like the thing about Chelsea is that she thrived in, when the lights were at the brightest. That's when she thrived when the lights were at the brightest. Like, I still remember those performances from the semifinals against the Seattle Storm. She could not miss. I mean, she could not miss. Like I was almost thinking, dang, Chelsea, you might as well start shooting from half court. You probably sink them jumpers too. I mean, but she could not miss. But it's interesting because she's a veteran. She looked like, because one of the things I was thinking when she had those performances against the Seattle Storm, I was thinking, oh, she looks like she's been here before. Wait a minute. She has been here before because she won a championship in 16 alongside Candace and
And hit
NECA
the
with
shot.
the Sparks.
Hit the shot to give him the championship.
Right, exactly.
On the
So
block, that spin move, which he still uses today. Like, and it's funny, she got mad at Nikias for asking her what she saw in the Connecticut defense that had her going so much. And I can't even remember her answer, to be honest. I just remember at the beginning of her saying, whatever she said to Nikias in response to his question. But like she does the same thing. Like it's the same move where she kind of gets her a spot. You let her get on the block, she's gonna hit the spin move and knock down a jumper. It's automatic, regardless of how you guard. It's on an unguardable move.
Mhm.
And then just kind of like you said, the like kind of extended one-handed, kind of runner she was doing from like
Mhm.
beyond the arc. It was crazy. Like she was hitting three-pointers like this and falling
Yes.
down every time. It was
Yes.
making it every time. It was some Steph Curry stuff. But yeah, man. Shout out to Chelsea Gray. Flowers for you. We already gave flowers to Jackie Young. Jackie Young, crazy hot start to the season, was in the MVP conversation at the beginning of the season, which I forgot about before. I was talking to Joel before, and Joel was telling me how she received the MVP vote. And I was like, how did she receive the MVP at the beginning of the season? She was in there. But so was Ryan Howard, and Ryan Howard didn't receive an MVP vote. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Going on kind of, she got hurt, came back and, found her footing again in the lineup and really came on strong and hit some big shots for them when they needed the most. her and Raquana, they kind of just, they played that role of the others. When we kick it out to you, we need you to hit this shot, knock this shot down. Salute to her. Flowers for Jackie Young, another number one pick that was a bust at the beginning of her career. And she got most improved. I don't like that she got most improved because she's a number one pick. That's what she's supposed to do. But that's neither here nor there today. She's a champion today, and that's all that matters. She's an all-star today. That's what matters for the season. De'Erica, man, Marietta, man, a Norcross graduate. So if you look her up, high school, yes, it's gonna say Norcross. She started off at Marietta born and bred. You know anything about Georgia, and you know about Wheelers, the Norcrosses. Them jokers always have some stacked teams with a bunch of super players. I wonder how that
Maya
happens.
Moore.
I don't know. You tell me. How does
Maya
that?
Moore.
How does
Georgia
teams?
product of Georgia high schools.
Yeah, Collins Hill.
Mm-hmm.
But you tell me how the same teams year after year, generation after generation have. It's not because they have the best coaches. I'd say it like that. But she started off in Marietta, so Marietta born, Marietta bred, and I'll be Marietta. And yeah, so I'm claiming her. So proud of the way that she battled through to show up, even available and dress out in the finals. Obviously, she wasn't 100%, but she had a lot of good defensive possessions. Shout out to Angel for pointing this out as well, of making winning plays and whatnot. Shout out to Jay English, the agent who represents Asia and Chelsea over there at Clutch. She also represents like the entire South Carolina team. Salute to Jay English for her win as well tonight.
With Ashton Watkins.
yes, already working with the dunker. Excuse me, with the dunker.
Yep.
This is not a college video, Keem, but college is the next big thing coming up. We'll probably do a bunch of videos or whatever before the college season starts. But I guess just early look ahead. What are some of the storylines you're looking at in college this season?
Well, it's definitely interesting. Obviously, everybody's going to be coming after South Carolina because, they're the defending champs and everything. And, everybody's going to be looking at, how is, what's Aaliyah Boston going to do to close out her college career in style before she goes into the WNBA as the number one overall pick. That's going to be a top storyline. Like, how will UConn do since they won't have Paige Beckers for the season? What other teams will make a run, to challenge South Carolina? What are we going to see out of Maryland? What are we going to see out of Stanford? What are we going to see out of Louisville? There's always those top teams that are going to be there. What are we going to see, even out of a team like Baylor? Are there going to be any unknown teams? And of course, everybody's going to be looking at Iowa because everybody's going to want to see Caitlin Clark. It's amazing. A little bit earlier, we was talking about the 2023 draft. That 2024 draft with Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark at the top of that draft class. I'm telling you, that's going to be something to watch.
If Paige doesn't stay, Paige
if
might
she
use
doesn't
that
say,
fifth year. She might use that fifth year.
She may, but what's also so interesting? There's actually, and this is my hot take. There's actually, I believe, incentive for Minnesota Lynx to tank 2023. But so they can get themselves back in the draft lottery and they can draft Paige Beckers number one overall 2024 draft. 2023. It's, and plus Paige is from Minnesota. Yeah, so they'll make a lot of money off jersey sales. So, but yeah, the college season, I can't wait. All these top teams, who's going to come from out of nowhere to really make a run at March Madness? I can't wait for college, man.
Arizona, I think, is going to be an interesting team this season. LSU for sure with Big Bo.
Big Bo, yep.
And Angel Reese. Raven Johnson, what is Raven Johnson going to do now that Henny has graduated and she's coming back from her ACL injury? Sanaya Rivers over there at NC State, looking at heavy. How is Sanaya going to look? Is Sanaya going to become the player that we thought she would become at South Carolina? Man, it's so many storylines. Louisville, like you said, you alluded to, but Morgan Jones as a grad transfer over from Florida State over there to Louisville now. You lose Emily, but you still have Haley Van, and then now you add Morgan to the mix. It'll be interesting to see what they do. And like I said, Arizona, I feel like Arizona, Coach Barnes over there has brought in a good recruiting class. She just flipped Jada Williams, who I think has one more year. Yeah, Jada still has one more year in high school.
Mm,
But I think that's going to be an interesting program to look at this season as well. So yeah,
mm,
and then, of course Baylor, as always, like you said, Texas. Oh, UNC. This
mm,
is I think this no. They're just upperclassmen now. I was about to say this is the last year of Deja and all of them. No, they're
mm,
upperclassmen now, with Kennedy and Deja over there at UNC.
mhm,
That's going to be an interesting team with Lil Key, baby Key coming in the picture.
mm.
Tennessee, speaking of keys, the uh, big key, returning over there, and also pretty much all their top players except for the shooter who's over there with the Sparks now. So there's
Mhm.
so many interesting storylines. How is Texas A&M going to do in Joni's first season over there? So it's
Janiyah Barker.
exactly with Janaya flipping from UGA to A&M. So be a very very interesting season. Jackson State. What is Jackson State going to do after having kind of all eyes on them now?
Mm.
So I don't know. I think it's going to be a very, very intriguing thing to watch this year. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be very fun. Paige is tough because she brings so many eyes to the game, but at the same time, if you look at the kind of the bright side of it, as Paige gets better, and we pray that she has a speedy recovery. Um, it's kind of it forces people to focus on everybody else. Like last season, it forced people to focus on Caitlin Clark, give Caitlin Clark attention to the point where some people got tired of seeing Caitlin Clark. But
Mhm.
like half court shots in 40 plus point games was something she was doing her freshman season. And
Mm.
everybody was kind of talking about Paige on a more mainstream level. So to see Caitlin finally get acknowledged for those 40-point games and half court shots that she's always been doing was nice to see. But
Our
also some of
dude
those other
Rafiq.
teams.
Our dude
There it is.
Rafiq is a big fan of Caitlin Clark because he's basically one of the presidents of the Caitlin Clark fan club, but he basically is a president of the Caitlin Clark fan club because he wants Caitlin Clark on the Liberty, as if they don't have enough shooters already.
Who they got? Rebecca Allen, um, Sab, of course, obviously.
Tosh
Uh,
Howard,
uh, oh yeah, Tosh Howard, but they have
Benaja
I
Laney.
no, yeah. Shout out Benaja, but I don't want to. I hate sound like this, but uh, the other one that can shoot. Who the other one that can shoot? If you know what I mean, she can
Whitcomb.
shoot. Whitcomb, Sammy Whitcomb. Yep, Sammy Whitcomb. Yeah, as well.
Mm.
Them jokers can shoot, man.
Oh
Rebecca
yeah.
Allen, Sammy Whitcomb.
Mm.
Uh,
Johannes too. She was the one who made that crazy pass to Natasha Howard in
yeah.
that
Shout
game
out to
one against
Johannes.
Chicago.
Yeah. They have a good team. And Dawson going back home, and she was supposed to go back with Stewie. So I don't know, man. If Stewie goes over there, I don't know if she still gets like all the attention. Like I feel like you have a better chance of staying in Seattle and getting all the attention because you just have Jewel. Uh,
Mm.
but like I think you might be chances of getting overshadowed a bit by Sab because Sab is, the Kobe prodigy, you know what I'm saying? And protege. And, I feel like Sab is always going to get the more attention when you talk about her, unless you're talking about Paige Bakers. I feel like she's the only one in women's basketball who can upstage her. So, yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. That's it. That's all I have on my end. Keem, you have anything signing off tonight?
That that's pretty much it for me. I mean, it was a very fun WNBA season, and it was I did a lot this season. Obviously, going to the All-Star game, doing a bunch of interviews. It was a fun season, and now we, like you said, transition to the FIBAs and to college, and eventually to the all season and the draft. So yeah, what a season! And once again, congratulations, first pro sports championship for Vegas. Isn't it cool, man?
And congratulations to you as well, King, for the season of
Hmm.
covering, being out there on the red carpet at the All Star game up there in Chicago, and
Hmm.
the Spotify weekly pod that you did and spaces you did over there with
Hmm.
Christina and girls talk sports and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, man, shout out to Coach, man,
Hmm.
Tanisha Wright, man, for working with me this season, being patient with me, and being tolerant of my tough questions or questions you didn't like sometimes. Shout out to Nas and Ryan, man, for
Mm,
always talking to me when I wanted them to. Even if Nas was like, "Oh, did we get this approved? Yeah, we got it." Um, who
and one
else?
more thing,
Yeah,
free
go ahead.
BG.
Free. Oh man, free BG, man. Man, how could I have forgotten going through the entire W season without shouting out BG?
Mm,
BG, man. I don't
mm,
know if you guys seen the reports. Her spirits are going down after she's been kind of relatively optimistic all year, being locked up over there. Now she's starting to, her mental starting to deteriorate a little more. Her wife just met with Biden to see if he could still do something. He said he's still working on it. And she met with him not only to talk about BG, but the release of the other two, three, Americans over there in Russia as well. Um, Terrible situation to see, one of the league's most dominant of all time being locked up for almost a year now, it feels like, even though it's just been over 200 days, but that's 100 days from 300, which is a year.
yeah,
So uh
exactly.
it's terrible, terrible thing. BG, keep your head up. Wifey, if you're watching this, we sending our love to you, the family, the cousins, because it's a lot of cousins on WNBA fan pages and groups and stuff like that over social media in the community as well, that talk about, I miss my cousin, I want my cousin home. All the cousins, um, aunties, and anybody in the family, man, for sure. Our hearts are with you. Skylar Diggins Smith, what a season. Salute to her for the season she had. You know, um, yeah, she snapped on a reporter at the end of the season and said, I can't
Mm,
do this if I keep asking us this, my mental health. Salute to Sky.
mm,
She don't have the best record with the media, you know what I'm saying? Like,
mm,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
She's had her fair share of run-ins.
yeah. So and then she left for the season. So I hope she gets her mental right and stuff like that. Her coach kind of like, forgot about her in the public eye and didn't even apologize publicly. Like, that was crazy. DT, if this was DT's last year, if this was Candace Parker's last year, salute
Mm,
to y'all's careers. Um, Liz Cambage, you quit. Um, who else? Who else we shouting out? NECA, it'll be interesting to see what happens to her. Kennedy, keep your head
mm.
up, stay headstrong this off season, man.
Arike.
Arike, stop kicking things, take some anger management courses. That was a joke. You are a great player, but you know, anger management for real, you know what I'm saying? But all
Allie
players.
Quigley.
Ali Quigley, one of the best to do it, still stepping up and playing up to that and winning again 3-point like year after year after year, or is that Sloot?
Mm.
Is
That's
that
Quicks.
that's Quigs?
Hmm.
See, I always tell the joke of if you put Quigs and Banner Sloot, they're like right in front of me in street clothes. I like, hey Rashad. Like
Mm, mm,
I get it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, those are homies though. Who else? Who else? What else happened this season?
Mm,
Indiana with all the rookies. Yes, they
yeah.
were the worst team in the league, but the rookies
Again.
showed some flashes of again, but the rookies did show some flashes. I went to a conference last week and I could have promised Tiffany Mitchell was there. And I looked at
Mm,
her a couple times and she was looking like the last time like either A, this dude recognized me, or B, why is this dude looking at me? And it was because
mm,
I thought you were Tiffany Mitchell. And there's been so many times I've approached people in public and like, hey, you're so and so, right? And they're like, nah. And they're like, all right, nice to meet you. And it's very awkward.
mm,
So, when I went to look and I was like, hey, I couldn't find her anymore. But that was Tiffany Mitchell. Tiff and Kelsey ball out every single year, and they do it for nothing. Like, they don't get any attention for it. It's because they lose every game.
mm,
That's a tough life.
yeah.
Shout out to Marina Mabry. Marina
Hmm.
Mabry, great season over there at Dallas. Salute to the Twin Towers over there in Dallas as well. I'm probably gonna be
Mm,
on different teams. Shout out Izzy Harrison, probably gonna be on a different team. Charlie Carlier is probably gonna
mm,
be on a different team next season.
mm,
It's always room in Atlanta for you.
Mm,
Unless they get the number one pick, then there's no room for you. It's
mm,
Aaliyah Boston and Cheyenne Parker running the five. Uh, Shout out to Haley Jones over there at Stanford. She's the number two pick this year, especially with Kansas State center Ioka Lee going down. So yeah, Ayoka
mm.
Lee. I'm trying to think anyone
EDD
else.
comeback season.
Who?
Elena Deladon.
Oh yeah, EDD. Shout out EDD, man.
Oh
Shout
yeah.
out EDD. Great, great
Shout
comeback
out Ezzy
season.
McBagor too. I mean, she was
Yeah.
a defensive anchor all season for Seattle. Shout out Ezzy McBagor. Give her flowers.
Great, great defensive season. Hot start. Didn't get as much playing time late in the year. But
Mm,
yeah, great season from her.
mm.
Um,
Han
hmm.
Shu, what about her with the Liberty? I mean, she had
Yeah, yeah.
two, like, you
She
know,
wasn't she wasn't just there, to bring in fans or just because our hype. Shout out to
right.
Saruri over there at Washington.
Mm,
And that wasn't even, what I'm saying, intentional. It was just kind of what I was just thinking of other people. Shout out. But the behind the head passes, like Johannes over there in New York. Um, Dang, who else? Dangerfield. Shout out to Dangerfield for just like not quitting on the WNBA.
right.
Um, hmm.
Former Rookie of the Year, Crystal Dangerfield.
And former rookie of the year. Shout out Lasia Clarendon. Shout
Mm,
out to Angel McCautry. Great players and great vets that were pushed out because
mm,
of kind of like the way that contracts and the W set up. Um,
yeah.
shout out to shout out to Kalia Davis, uh, coming on late, getting signed and playing some big games. After
Hmm.
hopping on Twitter Spaces. Shout out to her. Shout out to Erica McCall. Shout out to Sydney Colson. A Twitter WNBA member of WNBA Twitter got a ring. Sydney Colson. So shout
Oh
out to
yeah.
Sid. Who else?
Odyssey Sims, because she
Odyssey
balled out at
Sims.
the
Yeah.
at Athletes Unlimited, and she was actually a late season signee by Connecticut. So that was pretty big for her. Being on the team up to the finals.
Shout out to Taj over there at Athletes Unlimited, even though she didn't make the final roster. But shout out to Taj, shout out to Dejanay, shout out to Court. I gotta shout out Court for the way she performed on the court. Obviously off the court, it is what it is. I said what I said about Court. On the court, she came and hit some big shots, even to the final game, to the last second, to the final minute. So salute to Courtney Williams for bouncing back and just doing what she does, which is ball. Never questioned her offensive prowess or anything like that. It
Mm.
was just other stuff I didn't necessarily like. Uh,
And here's another shout out too. Shout out to Amanda Zowie B. Like, I know that she
yeah,
didn't get a
giving
roster
up
spot
number
with the
one.
Sparks. Hopefully she's back in the WNBA next season. Shout out you, AZB.
Um, Liz, like I said, I did give you a little jab and say you quit. I hope you find yourself. I hope you learn what you love in life. I hope you learn your purpose. Um, what I'm saying? We've been tough on you. And yeah, reportedly you've been tough on others and other people. But you never know where that hatred comes from. You know what I'm saying? Alleged hatred against your own people, uh, against your teammates, against, you never know where the other person is coming from. You know what I'm saying? So empathy is always good with this, sympathizing and trying to see both sides and stuff. So, Liz, I've been tough on you. So I don't know if I necessarily apologize for being tough on you, but I do hope you find yourself and you really, can kind of bounce back mentally from this. And yeah, best of luck in your time away from basketball. Who else?
Mm.
Shout out to Nas. Like I always shout out Nas, but coming from
Mhm.
like a bench warmer to like a rotational player for a near playoff team is amazing. Shout out to Maya Caldwell for always being ready to go whenever the Dream signed her at random points of the season. Shout out to
Mhm.
Crystal Bradford, who's trying to get back in the league. CB. Uh,
Mhm.
what other teams? Did we shout out all 12 teams?
I think we did. I think we did. Oh, shout out to Nafisa Collier, and
Shout out to
congratulations
Fee.
on her getting married and having her baby and everything. So yeah, shout out to her too.
Shout out to Fee, man. And
Mhm.
that's it. That's all we got. Keem, appreciate you for jumping on. Where can the people find you once again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. People can find me at Akiem Bailum, AKIEMBAILLUM, on Twitter, as well as at Beyond the W and at Prep Girls Hoops. So check those out as always. I'm all over the place.
All right, man. You heard it here from Keem.
Walked out looking like money, money. Lord